Alrighty then, hello everyone and welcome to round number 1 of the ACC BRL Racing League here at Brands Hatch. My name is Haycatcher. I'm going to be alone up in the booth for commentating today's race for the GT3 category of the Breakout Racing League. This is the inaugural race for ACC XBOX. We'll see how these drivers will come to do. Let's talk about the circuit then. Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch is a racing circuit in the UK. It is pretty renowned, and it hosted 12 runnings of the British Grand Prix in F1 between 1964 and 1986, and it currently hosts many Grand Prix for British and international racing events, including that of the GT3 circuit. Some major events that they hold here is the British Grand Prix, the FIA WTCC, the Formula 3000 International Championship, the A1 GP, and the BSB, the SBK, the BTC, DTM, FIA European Formula 3, British Formula 3 Championship, and many others. Let's talk about the circuit length then. It is a 3.90 kilometer and a 2.433 mile track with 9 corners, and the race lap record for A1GP is a 1 minute 12.276. But that is not what we're racing today. We're going to be racing the GT3 cars. We got BRL Skeppy, BRL Oliver, the McLaren. We got B Dunk, and the Bentley. We have BRL Skeppy, like I just said. And the Nissan SF1776 is in the Lexus. There's a lot of Lexuses. The MSR Racing in the Lambo. We got Erikov in the Lexus. There's another Lexus. Deer Hunter in the Honda. BRL Neymar is going to be in the Merc. You have ET4 and 856 in the Lexus. BRL Phantom, another Lexus. And Bad Hunt House, the last Lexus at the moment. There's some other drivers that are going to be in the race here, but this is only practice, FP1 to be more precise. 13 minutes left in the session. So this is going to be where drivers are going to adjust their setup, figure out how the track works, how their car reacts to it, and see where they line up compared to these other drivers around them. SF1776 right now has the provisional, I guess you could say, fastest lap at the moment with a 1 minute 25.887. So we'll see what he and the rest of these BRL ACC drivers can do here. So, like I said, Brands Hatch is a very interesting circuit indeed. It's quite historic, but it's definitely no slouch. There's no runoff areas, and there's a lot of trouble points that you could definitely make a mistake off. Turn 1 is going to be very, very hard for these drivers to stay on the track, not go too deep, and not get in the driver trap at the exit of it. Turn 2 is very, very tricky. It's hard to put it. You think you can brake a little bit later than you actually can, and when you brake as hard as you can, it sometimes it just doesn't work out as well. CSF. Oh, that's a B-dunk off the road. That is a close, almost impeccable collision between SF1776 and B-dunk. Let's see what happened to the Bentley. Not really sure. It looks like he just lost the coming out of turn 3, I believe. So, I mean, looks like he is okay. I don't see many, if any, damage on that Bentley. But, you never know. Ichigo is now in the session. He's in the Ferrari. There's another driver that could see what he can do playing his cards. You have the Neon. You're pretty much going to be recognizing that Mercedes of Neymar pretty obviously. You can see him from a while away, almost a Highlander category. We have more laps coming in. Aldifer got P2, about 6/10 behind SF1776. We're all fans of actually Skeppy goes up to P2, 2/10 off of the Lexus in his GTR. Aldifer stays, P3 now, 6.669 off of SF1776. Phantom. 2 Lexuses, a Phantom and Air, both sitting there pretty close together, about 9/1000 seconds separate those two. Neymar now goes in for P6, about a second, almost 1.7 seconds off of the original pole time in practice. B-Dunk sits P7, Bad Hunt is about his make lap on a 4-second behind. Then you have some other drivers who has not set their lap, including ET4 and DXDHGO, Deer Hunter, and MSR Racing. So, obviously this is the inaugural race for ACC XBOX, like I was saying here. It's going to be interesting to see, because, I mean, obviously it's the beginning of the season. and you have about 3 races to choose what car you would like to drive for the rest of it. So you may see some drivers in cars that are not going to be, staying. You never know. You could see someone go from maybe a Ferrari to a Lexus, or a Lexus to maybe another car, but maybe see an Audi or a Porsche. There's a lot of possibilities, and a lot of question marks going into this season. So we'll see if we can iron some of those out today. So we have a provisional 12 drivers that can, which we have 12 in the field too. People could possibly make it. So we could have a max grid of 14 today. So GT racing is going to be quite different than what you see normally on the BRL Twitch. It's usually Formula 1 racing. Well, GT3 racing is completely different. If you don't know, they're a lot heavier, have a lot less downforce, and are going to be a lot more, fun to drive in a sense of you're sliding around. ET4 goes up to P7, about 2.5 seconds off pace. Air goes up to P3, 1.4 seconds off of SF 1776. So that's going to be some question marks. I think, yeah, he did actually. He improved. He's now a 24.7 for the Lexus. He's looking pretty well right now when it comes to his pace-wise compared to the rest of the grid, as he lets the Mercedes of Neymar go and goes back to the pits. Something you can do in this game compared to F1 2020. You can actually go and stop on track, maybe away from the field as preferably, to go back and put your car back in the pits without having to go and just complete your lap or whatever you need to do there. So we'll see how the drivers use that. It's just going to be a long race. 45 minutes or so, plus the qualifying session about 15. We have about 8 minutes left of practice. Let's see what could be done for some of these drivers here. Some of these drivers may need to try to figure out the best way to adjust their setup of their cars, as the weekend forecast looked rainy up until today. It now is going to be cloudy, but very, very cold. The ambient temperatures, I believe, was around 21 degrees Celsius, or 21 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm sorry. Let me go and figure that one out. I believe it is around that. Let me look. About 24 degrees Fahrenheit, so I was close. So that's going to be definite in the way some of these drivers play out. So let's go and move on to, let's go get Phantom a look at the other Lexus. We've seen about Lexus is on stream. Let's continue that playing card. Phantom right now sits P3. He's now 1 second almost exactly off. He jumps ahead of Air. Now Phantom goes ahead of Skeppy and goes to P2. About 5/10 off of the other Lexus in the field. That is one of about, 5 at the moment. Taylor Clan and the McLaren has now joined as well. We actually lost someone. I'm not sure exactly who we did. But yeah, Taylor's joined. That makes it 2 McLarens in the field. And you have the only Lexus, or not, sorry, the only Bentley and B-Dunk, the only McLaren, or not McLaren, the only Lamborghini in MSR Racing, the only Ferrari in DXDHGO, and the only Nissan GTR in Skeppy. So as for these guys right here, they're kind of going through. This is a difficult part of the track. Not really much runoff, like I said at the beginning of the stream here. It's a really no margin for error, so it's going to be difficult as the drivers give Deer Hunter back. So Deer Hunter actually goes to the Porsche. Like I said, you can change your car in the first 3 races. So it definitely could be up for grabs of what car you actually want to decide to choose. Deer Hunter just uses that. I believe he was in the McLaren. He switches now to the Porsche. Let's go through. Let's see MSR Racing's Lamborghini. Nice purple and orange. As he flies through the main straight into the difficult right-hander that is really, it tightens up on exit, and there's not a lot of runoff, and it's very easy to dip a wheel onto the grass and go flying off. It's definitely a difficult part of the track as well. Not much runoff there, so if you understeer off to the side of the track and on the grass, it's not going to end well. This is a flat, or not flat, it's very, it's almost blind uphill right-hander that's very, tricky. Not a lot of runoff. Actually, there's no runoff on it. So it's very difficult to get right, but if you get it right, you can make it feel so much nicer in the rest of the lap. This is a very difficult corner here, the final corner for 9. It's more of like a continuous right-hander to the line rather than an actual flat-out corner straight. You're still on the gas, trying to get traction while you're still turning right. So it's going to be difficult to see as these drivers with cold tires in the race and throughout this qualifying session to see how they react to it. There's Deer Hunter's Porsche. He's now out on track. Let's actually give Taylor a look for his McLaren as the fastest driver. James Baldwin's car and team, owned by Jensen Button. That livery is now being used for McLaren. That is very nice to see. Someone we haven't given it to so far, I don't think, has been. I don't think Van Hunt. He's in the pits right now. You see the Bentley, the Lexus, and the Ferrari on jacks, trying to figure out setups, trying to figure out what they can do to their car as Hunt actually grabs the gas and the clutch and goes out to, I guess, do some more practice running. About 5 minutes left of the session, a little bit under. Let's see how these drivers can react to it. 1.5 seconds exactly is where he puts ET4 off of SF76. It's like I said earlier, it's going to be difficult for drivers not to do what he just did. Going wide like that is going to be difficult because the gravel will come out and pretty much bite you. So that's not going to be good at all. You got to make sure to, I guess, limit those mistakes in the race. Let's give a look at Skeppy in his white, purple, and black Nissan GTR. He's actually behind the Porsche Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter on a lap. I believe he is still trying to push. So we'll see how that goes. The yellow flag, not really sure what that is for. Maybe a car is off the track just a tad. We'll see how these drivers can really react to some of these interchangeable conditions of the track. And especially their cars. Deer Hunter loses it, goes back, corrects it off the track. And that's a bollard gone. He may have hit the barriers as well. He's probably going to return to the pits after that one. It looked like it was a very difficult, or a very hard impact, more likely. As he does. So it's about 3 minutes left in the session before qualifying. So practice is not really an indicator. You could have drivers on different fuel runs, on different setup changes, so you not really know until the qualifying session will begin. I believe that is about 15 minutes for a 45% or 45-minute race. I'm sorry. So let's see what these drivers can truly make of their cars before qualifying. The final setup touches the final run, as I believe B-Dunk was off the track. He now goes over to the right-hand side to let the professional lap time leader, as of 1776, go through with Skeppy in front of him. So right now it looks like the majority of people are, that's a yellow flag, I believe that, I'm not really sure who that is. It looks like it may have been, I'm not really sure, it's really hard to see. But anyway, it was a yellow flag. It looks like he has gone back to the pits. Let's go through the field again. Some more lap time changes. The top stays the same. Phantom now grabs P2 by a little bit less. Now it was probably about like 5 tenths and 30 hundredths, or now it's almost closer to being exactly 5 tenths off. He's now onto the track again. Skeppy, he's in 6 tenths off of the two Lexuses ahead of him. But he's actually in a Lexus sandwich. There's about 4 Lexuses in the top 5, only separated by the 1 GTR of Skeppy. Oliver's on the track. I don't think we've given him a look so far this session. Look at that in his purple, orange. I believe that's actually more of a blue. More of like the McLaren F1 team's colors. Very fitting indeed. Looks pretty sharp. So as you know, some of these drivers, you actually can't customize your livery, so you could see some more custom-built liveries like Oliver's. I could be wrong on that, so I'm probably not going to say exactly. But I know there is some liveries you can customize, and said actually I have a livery that I use instead of the actual base game. So it's more freedom. There's no teammates, so you don't have to worry about having a same kind of car as the guy you are with. It's more freedom and more individuality in Racing here, all the now behind MSR Racing, the two orange cars on the track. It's kind of ironic that they found him there, and MSR Racing overcorrects. I don't think he kept it out. He may have actually kept it out. Yes, he did. There's a lot of runoff space there. So he is actually fine in the damage department. He returns to the pits. So, with about 15 seconds to go. Some drivers that have not set a lap yet, Deer Hunter, both of them still trying to figure out what they can do, and that is it. Checker flag has fallen for practice, so everyone has to get the lap they are on, and that's going to be it for Ichigo for MSR Racing. Bina Neymar actually goes back onto the pits. You have a max wait time about 2 minutes, so you could do, I guess, one lap, but it's not necessarily, you're not allowed to finish it. So if everyone else around you that's actually done laps and finished them, if they finished and you're the only one out there, they'll stop you there. So that's it for ET4N, that's it for Air, that's all the first Skeppy. Both are still on the track along with Phantom and SF1 1776 are both in the pits. So that's going to be pretty much it for the session, and that is it.
Green light, go, go, go.
On to qualifying now. Practice doesn't mean anything in retrospect, but this definitely will. So, I believe that is ET4N. He goes out. I believe he is the only one so far, but I'll take a look at that. Yep, he is the first one out. Taylor is going to be the next one out in his McLaren. And good job. I've been disconnected from the server. So, bear with me here as a technical difficulty will go back into the session. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. That's just a bug we had to come out. Like I said, it's the inaugural race for the BRL ACC tier. So it's going to have some issues there. So as we load back in, we can look at that. Let's actually go ahead and look at the air and the track temps. The air temp is about 18 degrees Celsius. The track temp is about 22 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be, like I said, a little bit more of a cooler temperature for the drivers to truly react with their cars, especially because there's no tire blankets. You have to actually physically warm up your tires by yourself. Not sure what's going on here. This is really interesting, actually. Like I said, stand by for a second. There is more technical difficulties going on here. Not sure what this is about. There we go. Looks like it's back.
Green light. Give it all you got.
Maybe. Great. Race. I keep saying it, but I mean, there's nothing else I really can say about it. With new things will come new challenges. As you can see, definitely it's happening here today. As the game crashed, I'll come and load back in. Hopefully not too much has been lost. I believe everyone got disconnected. So it should, I'm hoping it stays and actually allows qualifying without any more interruptions. You're here to see the racing, not to see the loading screen. And once again, I apologize about that. I'll try my best to get through as best I can. Alright, so it should be almost... Hopefully it should be smooth sailing from here. Alright, so we're loading back into the session now. It shouldn't be much longer. Hopefully not much time has passed. We'll see how that will truly work out for the drivers now, because it could have messed up their momentum a bit, their groove, if you will. They're in tune with the track, and all of a sudden everything has gone wrong.
Go, go, go.
Could possibly see a lot more mistakes. Yep, qualifying is here. Let me actually fix this. You can see, looks like MSR Racing is on the track at the moment. Looks like everyone is actually on the track except for 2 drivers. It looks like that is Ishigo and not really sure who the other one is. It looks like it's Bad Hat. That was a driver. That was actually a mistake from GT3, and I believe he's made a mistake and crashed and returned back to the pits. So let's take a look now. The first one to cross to start to finish the lap is going to be. Sure, looks like it's going to be maybe Deer. It's not. It's. I'm looking for him. It's gonna be difficult. Maybe it's. Let's look up here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's just look through the field then. Let's go with Deer Hunter. How about that? Let's see what the Porsche can do on his lap. The Porsche is very, very, I guess, iconic in all kinds of racing. We'll see what he can do with his Porsche. And this provisional pole by MSR Racing with a 1 minute 28.413 for the Lambo. We'll see what he can do as provisional. Everyone's going to be chasing his lap to see what they can do with the next 11 minutes and 22 seconds. So if you're just tuning in, this is the inaugural race for the BRL ACC XBOX Racing League. It is now round 1 for Brands Hatch. It's going to be 45 minutes of race time after the 15 minutes of qualifying. Right now, B-Dunk now takes the provisional pole, but that's been taken away by Skeppy. 25.1 for the Nissan. Neymar goes P2, 4/10 off. That's Deer Hunter up to P3. More drivers going to be coming up to take his time. That is Phantom P3. He'll take that away. That is Air P2. Promotes Neymar to P3. Phantom to P4. I believe that is going to be, let's see, it could be Taylor. No, it's not. It's going to be Aldifer, I think. Well, that is one driver that's coming to the line. Another driver who's coming to the line, that is going to be, actually, it's SF1776, I believe, came into the box. We'll see if Aldifer can do on his lap. He's P11 without a lap. We'll see what he can do with respect to the rest of the drivers around him. He goes up to P5 in his McLaren. There's 2 drivers behind him. We'll see what they go. Across the line. Both of them, I believe, are now starting a flying lap. So, for the first round, obviously you hold a lot more fuel in these GT3 cars than you do in an F1 car. As a lot of these guys probably are more used to doing. Oh, that's Aldifer spinning at turn 4, I believe. He keeps it off of the way. I believe there's another car coming back on. We'll see him pretty soon. Actually, there's 2 cars. That is MSR Racing and Taylor. Speaking of Taylor, I believe he went up to P8. That's a 2 seconds off of the pole time. So it's pretty close up front between Air and Skeppy, but not too far away from Neymar and Phantom. Between those 2 drivers, actually between those 3 with Air, Neymar, and Aldifer are pretty close. That is Air grabbing P1, Phantom grabbing P2. Skeppy's now into the mix, so these 3 are looking for a fight at the top spot today. As more drivers are going to be going to set their laps pretty soon. One driver is going to be around the final corner now. We'll see what his time is, because I don't know who that is, really. That is someone else entering the pits. That may have been Air. So let's see what they can do. Ishigo is through the middle sector now. See what he can do on his lap now. I believe, what is SF? Okay, he's starting his lap. ET4, that's a improvement, I believe, by, I'm not sure who that was. Whoa, ET4 tries to save it, and he does. He keeps it going straight. That's going to have to back out of his lap now. Bad Hunt's in front of Aldifer, trying to get his lap in. So that's going to mean DXD should go through the final corner. What will he do in retrospect to the rest of the grid on their flying lap? He's in the Ferrari. Can he promote that Ferrari in higher? No, he may have invalidated, or he's now starting another lap. That's going to be one thing to keep in mind. If you go off the track, it's pretty easy to invalidate, if not guaranteed. A little bit less, I guess, lenient towards the drivers in that sense. That is a driver spun at turn 1. I'm not sure who that actually is. It's really difficult to see. Let's go look at the timetables, though. That's one thing we can look at, hopefully without the game messing up on us. That's the pre-practice timetables. Let's go ahead and look at that real quick. So through pre-practice, which gives us a little bit of an indicating of who could we watch out for, maybe. And actually, I believe it's a spin. Yes, it was. MSR Racing went into a spin there. Scappy now grabs the pole again, about a 10th ahead of Air, but not until SF1776 grabs that ahead, about 2/10 ahead of Scappy's Nissan. Through the final corner for a couple drivers now. Taylor's going through turn 1. B-Dunk is going up into the final corner pretty much now. So across the line, hopefully, is a valid lap. Let's see who gets the improvement there. Looks like not anything there. Another driver across the line. B-Dunk will be... Looks like he's going a little bit slowly, but that could just be the slow acceleration of the Bontley. He goes and starts his lap. May have just almost saved it too, because he looks like he was really close to that gravel trap. It could have really ended his chance. That curb on turn 3 is very, very difficult. There's a little undulation and bumps over it to prevent guys from going on it too much and riding it. And I believe that actually unsettled the Bentley a little bit. The Bentley is really... It's quite heavy, I know, because I quite like driving the car. As B-Dunk is now going a little bit into the grass there. It's difficult, a lot of these corners, to truly... I guess, get right. That's why it makes Breakout such an interesting track and such a rewarding one to benefit on. Phantom goes P2, not too much ahead of him and Scappy. So there's a little bit of a close fight up there. SF176 is actually quite... He has the upper hand at the moment, but not too far away from Phantom and Scappy. Air is getting close. He's a little bit off of their fight, about almost a 10th. Scappy, but then you have a little bit back, maybe 2/10 to Neymar, who then has a little bit of 2/10 of a gap to Deer Hunter, who 2/10 to Aldifer, and then has a second to ET4N, and maybe a 10th to B-Dunk, a 10th to Taylor, and about 2/10 to MSR Racing with DXD Ichigo and Bad Hunt House both yet to set a lap. B-Dunk going to the end of his lap with me, watching a full lap with him. Did he improve on it? Looks like he did not. Let's go watch Scappy and see what he can do. He's now coming pretty slowly. May have made a mistake of trying to let someone by. I believe he did actually make a mistake. That's another driver into the pits. That may have been B-Dunk. Yes, it is B-Dunk. So Scappy's going to go up to the line. Let's see what he can do on his lap now. I believe behind him is the Porsche of Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter is at P6 right now. Like I said, 2/10 off of Neymar. Where can he put that Porsche in the final runs? Ichigo. He's going through on the long straight now into the right-hander of Hawthorne. He can do on the rest of his lap. Bad Hunt House is going a little bit ahead of him, actually. He's right ahead of our provisional pole sitter with SF1776. By the way, his lap time is a 1:24.624. Quite a good lap indeed from him. We'll see what he can do each and every else at the end of the session. Bad Hunt is going to the line now in his Lexus. We'll see what his Lexus can do in relegation to every other driver on the grid. That is going to be P9 for him with 2 seconds off, about a 26. We'll see, Ichigo now goes up to the line. It looks like he has invalidated again. Let's see what he can do. The only runner that has yet to set a time. 13 runners on the grid. We'll see what they can do in relegation. 3 minutes left of qualifying. Not much time left. B-Dunk, he's through sector 2, coming into the final couple of corners, final 2 actually. Let's see what his Bentley can do on his rest of the lap. Bad Hunt maybe pushing again. Let's see what Taylor's doing. He's around the final sector as well. Oliver a little bit wide, but he's still keep going straight. Deer Hunter's in the pits along with ET4 and MSR Racing and Air. Neymar, like I said, the highlighter Mercedes, he's going through turn 4 or 5 now. I gotta actually get that up. Actually, let's go take a lap with Phantom. See what he can do on his lap now. There we go. So everything's all sorted out. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. And time is ticking for these drivers to see whether they can put their car on the grid for round 1 at Brands Hatch. It's gonna be fun to watch. These drivers navigate turn 1 in the turn 1 collisions of the lap 1 incidences. Could be aplenty with the new drivers doing things. That is DXD Ichigo up to P8 in his Ferrari. He is now in a better position than he was a second ago. Phantom now will be completing his lap. Is it going to be an improvement or not? Looks like it is not. By the way, SF1776 did make an improvement on his lap. He's now 5/10 ahead of Phantom with a 24.330. So he's going even quicker as the Lexuses are probably starting to show their hand in how much they can dominate this field on the right lap. SF, Phantom, Air, and ET4N, and as well as Bad Hunt, all 5 of the Lexuses. If they can string a good lap together, they could probably show how dominant they can really be. But Skeppy is going to see what he can do, and Neymar as well, see if they can try to challenge them. Skeppy's been the only one that's really been up there consistently with the Lexuses of Air, Phantom, SF1776. This is going to be difficult, but it's going to be fun to watch up here with us, the booth, and the rest of the guys watching in. And that's someone actually off. It looks like that may have been... That's actually improved, I believe, by Taylor. No, it wasn't. Someone improved. It may have been Bad Hunt, actually. Yes, it was. He's up to P9. About 1.9 seconds off of SF1776's lap. But one thing to keep in mind is that qualifying is not... I mean, it doesn't mean it gets you a good spot on the grid, but there's still 45 minutes. You can start down at P13 and be lap 1 at first. So some of these guys could get beat up by their qualifying position, but that's something that needs to be looked out for, as you may not even see it. As Phantom makes a mistake, it's in the grass and goes really wide and off. That's going to pull over to the end. So that's going to be his qualifying done. SF1776, he's done. Skeppy and Air. So at the moment, those 4 drivers have locked their lap times, and the max wait time timer is up. We'll see how many drivers can make an improvement. Taylor's qualified P10 at the minimum, the maximum. ET4N has in the pits, MSR Racing, and B-Dunk. So P10 through 13 has been locked, but it's now up to Neymar, to Deer Hunter, to Oliver, DXD Ichigo, Bad Hunt. See what they can do. Can they probably bring it in? Deer Hunter crosses the line. He cannot go any higher. He's now P6 on the grid. There's only a couple more drivers going through. And that is Ichigo out as well. Same with Deer Hunter. Bad Hunt is out as well. All defer going to the final corner. He's now P7, the McLaren. He's 1.1 seconds off. He will stay P7, and that will be it. That's actually a pretty big impact with the wall. But Neymar, he comes around. He's P5 at the moment. He's 9/10 behind SF1776. Can he improve in the Mercedes? No, he doesn't. And that's it. That's a big crash. Saves it, nice held, and keeps it out of the barrier. So that's it for qualifying for Brands Hatch. Pole position goes to SF1776 with a 24.330. The Lexus of Phantom will start alongside him, 5/10 off, but that will row 1. Row 2 will be to Skeppy and Air. Skeppy in the Nissan, and Air in the Lexus. P5 goes to Neymar. Alongside him will be Deer Hunter's Porsche. Aldifer will be P7 in the McLaren. P8 will go to the Ferrari of Ishigo. P9 will be Bad Hunt. P10 will be Taylor in the McLaren. P10 will go, or P11 will go to B-Dunk's Bentley. P12 will go to the Lexus of ET4N, and the final finisher and the slowest finisher through round 1 qualifying is MSR Racing in the Lamborghini. So that's it. Now it's time for the heartbreak, and it's time for the praise. The race time for round 1 of the BRL ACC Championship. So actually, let's keep in mind here that with these 45 minutes, like I said earlier, I hinted at, a lot can happen. So, in order for me to truly figure out what everyone else thinks about it, let's go through here and see, what do you guys think? So if you are here in the chat, please tell me, who do you think is the favorite to win, as the drivers are now gridding up onto the grid. Final changes, you have about a 2-minute time window to figure out if you want to change your fuel, change your tires, temperatures, tame your pressure. Just do whatever you possibly can to improve what your handling of the car is going to be from quality spec to race spec, as you can do it, compared to the restrictions you have in Formula 1. But that's going to be up to the drivers now. It's going to be in the hands of them. 2 Lexuses on the front row. You have 1 Lexus in row 2. A lot of Lexuses in the top 5. There's only, there's 3 in the top 4, separated by Neymar's Mercedes in 5th and Skepi's Nissan in 3rd. So, just going through the rest of the grid. Like I said before, Deer Hunter in the Porsche will be P6, Aldifer's McLaren P7, Ishigo's Ferrari will be P8, P9 will go to the Lexus of Bad Hunt, Taylor will get P10 in his McLaren, B-Dunk in the Bentley will be P11, ET4N in the Lexus will be P12, and MSR Racing in the Lamborghini will get P13. So, so let's see really what these drivers can do. About 30 seconds, a little bit more than 30 seconds, until we get to drop the jacks, hit the road, and start the 45 minutes of Brands Hatch for round 1 of the Breakout Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione Championship. It's going to be fun. I'm quite anxious for it. I'm quite interested to see who can really make a name for themselves, because the more momentum you have in round 1, the more you can take into round 2, 3, 4, and the rest of the championship. It's not always the one who wins round 1 is going to be the champion, but if they do, it's going to have a big boost of confidence. So the drivers are now going to start getting through. We are now actually being a problem. I may be stuck on this, but I'll keep it with it. As drivers now go on, well, I guess we're going to watch Neymar, because the game will not let me choose unless I guess probably get lagged out. I'll have to figure that one out in a second. The action dies down. So, 45 minutes, 13 cars, 9 corners. Any more numbers you want? I can think of one.
Green light, green light, green light. Go, go, go.
That's one. Green flag in the air. Good start from Skeppy. He gets already a look, but nothing doing there. Phantom's going to try to do it. Neymar goes a little bit wide, but he's not going to get anything. So Phantom will get ahead of Skeppy. Neymar challenges Skeppy. Skeppy will have a little bit of a defense. Deer Hunter jumps. Actually, no, Deer Hunter stays. Air has fallen back a bit. He's lost a couple cars. He's now behind Aldifer and Deer Hunter, as well as Neymar. So he's not going to have a good start. Compared up front, Skeppy is now stayed P3. Phantom's not going to have the chase after SF1776. So, as the updating rosters will go through, Ishigo goes to P8. Taylor grabs P10 or P9 from improves. ET4N stays P11. B-Dunk P12 actually falls back. Those two switch positions. MSR Racing stays P13 at the moment. But as Neymar goes through, he now watches the gaps fall away from the two Lexuses and the Nissan in front. But that is a move, and that is between Aldifer and Deer Hunter. Aldifer looks for it. He can't really get anything done. I'm actually going to have to see if I can try to move someone. That's what I thought would happen. Because I can't really change any of the... I can't change the camera. So... yeah, I apologize for this, but there's nothing else we really can do. I mean, I can't change the camera angles of the cars, or not the camera angles, the who we're spectating. And there's a lot more people on the track than just Neymar. So, hopefully this gets ironed out by the next time we get onto the stream. But it's just, I don't know. It's tough. But like I said at the beginning, whenever we had our first incident, it's you know, whenever something new comes out, you kind of need to have new bugs to figure out ways to do things. And as the inaugural race for ACC XBOX, it's kind of hard to have everything all sorted up. So it shouldn't be much longer. Then we can get back to the action and get back to seeing the drivers go around Brands Hatch. Last time we checked, it is SF1776 in the lead ahead of Phantom, ahead of Skeppy, ahead of Neymar. So I'm going to have to figure out where that happens from there. Hopefully nothing too drastic has happened ever since then, because I don't want you guys to miss it. So like I said earlier, the track and the air temp has stayed the same. Air temp 18 degrees Celsius, track temp 22. But as we load into the session again, hopefully it actually stays loaded in this time. But the race underway. There we are again. So, SF1776 ahead of Phantom, ahead of Skeppy, ahead of Neymar, ahead of Deer Hunter, ahead of Aldifer. Air has fallen back to 7th. ET4 has gone from P11 to P8 since the last time we checked. He's gone from P12 to P8, up 4 positions. Taylor's P9, still Ben Hunt, P10. MSR Racing is P11. Edunk P12, and Ishigo is a lap down, so it looks like he may have had an incident. So on lap 2, we've set 2 laps between these two drivers. Let's go look at SF1776 right now. 2 seconds, 2.9. The gap is starting to be train, following up behind BRL Phantom. Neymar is pretty close to Skeppy. We'll see what he can do. He is actually the closest car on track other than ET4 and Bad Hunt. We'll look at them in a second. Actually, that's a pretty close train between these guys as well, as I believe that is... who is this? Yep, that's Aldifer, Deer, and Air. Let's see what they can do. Those three are almost in tandem with each other. Aldifer looking more to the right track. Deer Hunter goes to the left. We'll see what they can do through turn 1. Pretty close. A lot of battles that are close right now. Neymar, his battle with Skeppy and Phantom are starting to heat up. Phantom a little bit further away than last time. 3.8 seconds the gap from Phantom to SF1776. The gap from Skeppy to Phantom has actually gone up a little bit. 1.4 seconds. The gap from Skeppy to Neymar, 0.6 of a second. Although for Deer Hunter and Air, they're really close to each other. Let's keep an eye on these three, as the Lexus Air is going to try to see if he can improve his position after losing 3 from the beginning of the race. He dropped back behind Deer Hunter and behind Aldifer, as well as Neymar. He's actually lost 3. So we'll see if he can improve. As an update now, I believe there is, unless anything happened when we were not there, there's not been any lap 1 collision that is extreme. As we still watch these 3 drivers, Aldifer's a little bit closer to Deer Hunter, but without any extra. This is just about to the car and the driving. We'll see if Aldifer's going to run from the straights onto the corner. See if he can try to take it from this portion. I believe there is, so you have to do 1 mandatory pit stop in the race. So we'll see what strategy can be played there, but you need to have the pit window being opened for the drivers to think about even pitting, unless you have damage. So, the wind is actually a tailwind going into, it's more actually, yeah, it's more of a tailwind into turn 4. So, right here, let's see if they can, it's going to be difficult, especially with some of the higher, of course, with the higher wings, including the McLaren, having a little bit of a higher wing compared to the rest of the body. But look at Air, he's going to go pink to the left-hand side, but the McLaren's not going to give him too much space, sweeps down and stays in P6 for Aldifer. Ichigo has been lapped. There he is, right in front of the battle between Aldifer and Air. The gap from Neymar and Skeppy, that's actually ironed out a little bit more, about 5/10 between the Mercedes and the Nissan. I believe ET4N has actually grabbed ahead. Yes, he has, of Bad Hunt. So the Nissan, or not the Nissan, the Lexus, who started down in P12, is now up to P8 again. Bad Hunt is trailing him by about half a second, back up to Aldifer, to Air, and to Deer Hunter. These three drivers are still it's still more of a train forming behind the Porsche of Deer Hunter. But let's see. Look at that, Air goes out the inside of Aldifer. He thinks he can make a move on the Porsche of Deer Hunter and has make it stick. Now into turn 2, late on the brakes for Aldifer, pinching down the Lexus. Into turn 2 on the exit is going to more favor the McLaren. He's going to have the inside line, the preferred line. Ooh, a little bit of a bump between the Lexus and the McLaren. Both drivers go a little bit wide. This is going to help Deer Hunter as he gets a little bit further away. He's now about 0.7 of a second ahead, but Deer Hunter makes a mistake. Let's see what they can do on the exit of the corner now, but Aldifer knows that our Air really wants to get past in a race the Lexus through the rest of the race. There's still 37 minutes left at Brands Hatch. Is that going to be enough time for Aldifer to stay ahead of the Lexus of Air, who really is desperately trying to stay, actually to improve his position and trying to get back what he lost on that opening lap? Because Deer Hunter, he got that 0.7 of a gap, has now actually lost it. Now look right there how close Aldifer is to the back of the Porsche. The Porsche is very difficult to drive. It's one of the hardest in the game by many sources, but it's very rewarding. It looks like Deer Hunter may have a little bit of his hand full, but Aldifer, his McLaren's really putting pressure on that Porsche, but he knows if he can't put enough pressure on the Porsche, there's going to be someone else putting pressure on him. Here comes Air to the left-hand side again to turn 1, but looks like he's going to get boxed off and having to really back out of it. But look at Aldifer. He's going to try to make a move and looks towards the inside of turn 1 on Deer Hunter. Nothing can be done there, but look at Aldifer late on the brakes again into turn 2. The McLaren is, oh, he taps him around. Contact between Deer Hunter. Air has some damage. Air's now around again. Aldifer now gets both of them. Deer Hunter's around. Air's around. Here comes Bad Hunt, and I believe ET4N has gotten past him as well. So that improves the Lexus's position of Hunt and ET4N. Hurts the position of Air and Deer Hunter majorly. Deer Hunter now drops to P8. Air to P9, as now on lap 6 of the race. Gap is now 6 seconds. About a second a lap has been pulled from SF1776 to BRL Phantom. The two Lexuses up front, trying to dictate the races. Neymar's actually gotten past Skeppy. I've missed that. I believe a mistake from the Nissan. Promote the highlighting Mercedes up into P3 of the race on the podium positions. But look at this. From P12 on the grid, up and having his starting spot. Right now he has the most positions gained. It is ET4N in the Lexus. Bad Hunt follows him through. He was right at P10, I believe. He's now actually, no, it may have been P11. As out of the race, I believe, is, not sure actually who's left. It may have been, look here. It could have been Taylor. It is Taylor. Well, Taylor's now out of the Grand Prix. I don't think he can actually rejoin, so that's going to be a very, very unfortunate thing for him. Up to Skeppy, he's actually gotten pretty close to Neymar. He's going to be one of the closest, if not the closest, battles on track. The gap between the two Lexuses, Phantom and SF1776, has actually grown by about 8/10 since last time we checked on them. A little bit more spread out with the nature of this circuit. It's just very, very difficult. There's not a lot of space, not a lot of overtaking opportunities, but it's definitely filled with mistakes. The Skeppy is now hounding down the Mercedes of Neymar as he can try to get that P3 back. If he started P3, Neymar started P5. So these two are the only ones that so far have been able to somewhat contend against the Lexuses as Neymar actually makes a mistake. Skeppy goes to the right and up and through into P3 of the Brands Hatch for the GT3 category in the BRL ACC round 1. So, going through now, looks like he is actually going to stick on board with this fight, actually. It's the closest one we got. Going through, it looks like everyone is a little more separated, but up front, now 7.3 seconds of a gap between SF1776 and BRL Phantom. If that Nissan can keep it, not the Nissan, the Lexus can keep up the pace right now through the entire Grand Prix. There's still about 33 minutes left. We could possibly see a pretty big gap forming between those two drivers there. It's been pretty much dominant so far from SF1776. He got the fastest lap points, he got the pole position, and so far he's led every single lap. But there's still a long way to go, about a third through the race here at Brands Hatch. And there's still a lot more racing left to go. I believe Neymar, this time was just a mistake. He has his hazards on. He does. The lights blinking in the back of the Mercedes there.
Pit window is opening.
And there's the pit window. So, well, like I said, the drivers have a one mandatory pit stop for this Grand Prix. They have to wait for the window to open, and they have to take tires. Who will do it? Skeppy does. Neymar will come in as well. These two are going to benefit from it, but the window is going to open up for about a couple laps. We'll see what they can do. Aldifer, he stays out. ET4 in. Will he decide to come in? No, he stays out as well in his Lexus camp. Hunt will stay out as well. Deer Hunter, he has that damage a bit from the tap with Aldifer. He'll stay out. MSR Racing in the Lamborghini. Will he decide to come in? So you can do it any time in the window, but yes, he will. MSR Racing will come in box. Same with Air. He has damaged the front of his Lexus. This is pretty much a no-brainer for him. B-Duck in P11 right now. I believe that's another driver out. That is actually DXD Ichigo. He's now out of the Grand Prix as well. We've lost two drivers. McLaren and DXD Ichigo in the Ferrari. Both of them are now having no chance. B-Duck stays out. So Skeppy still has his pit. He has to take, like I said, he has to take some gas, maybe, some tires, and maybe even repairing some of his car if he has any damage. He's down and away in the pit lane, and he's not going out. I believe there's another driver out. Who was that? Oh, Skeppy has a drive-through penalty. Wow, that's a pretty bad thing there as well. I'm trying to figure out who exactly is out. Again, we've lost another one. I don't know who that is actually this time. If you can, correct me on that one. Someone in the stream. That'd be very nice to see. The gap now 9.2 seconds between the two Lexuses of SF1776 and BRL Phantom. Aldifer is about 14.1 seconds behind him in the McLaren, but he's not too far away. It looks like it may have been Neymar. Yes, it is Neymar. Oh, wow. Neymar's out of the race. He had a great pace in his McLaren, or Mercedes, I'm sorry. So that's going to be very unfortunate for him. The top 10 are the only ones that get points due to the point system. That's a mistake from the Lexus of ET4N. So now everyone in the grid, everyone in the race now will actually keep their points. I believe it is the Formula 1 style, with 25 points going to the race winner and 1 point going to P10 on the roads. At the moment, that would be here in the Lexus. He'll grab that 1 point, and 25 going to the other Lexus, SF1776. But the drive-through now is being served, I believe, to Skeppy. An unfortunate thing, I believe he may have, I'm not really sure what exactly resulted in giving him a drive-through, but he now is going to be, he now has a long way to find back. As you see on the bottom, the race director, the race control, it has now been cleared, so he now has served that drive-through penalty. Now the window is still open. will be for about another 5 to 10 minutes. So when will they decide to pit? Them being 1076, BRL Phantom, BRL Artifer. Bad Hunt House, ET4 has actually come in for his stop. Deer Hunter actually gets ahead. I believe Deer Hunter, he pitted. Not sure. B-Dunk in his Bentley. Whoa, that's a nice drift for the right-hander. Glad we caught that. Brakes are fuming on the Bentley. And MSR Racing is in to the pits as well in his lane. Well, let's see what so he's now going to get that stop cleared and has just a clear track ahead of him. She's going to be P10 on the road. A long time away. So ET4N is still in the box. He looks like he has some damage actually as well. Maybe some incidents that we did not catch on. SF1776, he will stay out again. Phantom will come in. So this is going to probably trigger in SF1776 the next couple of laps. All defer. He's going through the final corner pretty much now. Will he dive into the safety of the pit lane in his McLaren? No, he will stay out. Bad Hunt in the Lexus. He is pretty much alone on the track, about 9 seconds behind. All defer. He'll actually come in and take a little bit of a pit stop now. So if you look onto the left-hand side of the screen, the ones with the orange tag, I believe ET4's out of the race as well. Yes, he is. He isn't on the thing. He's on the scoring chart anymore. That's another unfortunate loss, but he will grab P10 and the 1 point to his name in the ACC Euro Championship. But there's always next week, and that's the best you really can do about it. Like I said, back onto the left-hand side of the screen, if you see the drivers that have an orange 1 on the side of their racing number, those are the drivers who still have yet to make that mandatory pit stop. The ones that have are BRL Skeppy, Air, and MSR Racing. So those three right now are benefiting from it. There he is. Actually, Phantom is out. He made his stop. I'm not really sure why it didn't clear it, actually. We'll keep an eye on Phantom, as Deer has just gone off the road. He's now P3 at the moment. With Phantom being about 4 seconds behind the Porsche of Deer Hunter. But we're going to have to keep in mind where Deer Hunter comes out in relation to SF1776. He's now done 13 laps so far of the Grand Prix in Brands Hatch. Target is probably around 27-ish laps. So about, if Phantom comes in again, I knew it didn't clear it. So Deer Hunter will come in as well as Phantom. This is going to hurt Phantom even more. He's now already stopped. Now he's going to stop again, as they're now racing into the box. That's another driver out of the race. Who is that? Not sure. So B-Dunk right now has yet to stop, as well as Aldifer. Oh, that's a big thing. I know who's out of the race. SF1776. He was leading by about 15 or so seconds over Aldifer and had yet to make his pit stop. Now he's out of the race as well. So that relegates Aldifer up into P1 provisionally, but the person on track who is P1 will be Bad Hunt. He's now P2 and served his mandatory pit stop. Skeppy is 2 seconds off of the Lexus of Bad Hunt, so we could possibly see his Oliver pits now. He's avoided the wall unlike he did in qualifying. So Bad Hunt is now pretty much your provisional P1. He's going through about turn 4 now, and turn 5. And Aldifer is in the pit, so it's going to take a while as B-Dunk also makes his stop as well. So that's everyone now stopped. Aldifer misses his box. So he now has to reverse. That's going to hurt him even more. So if he wanted to try to come out in front of Bad Hunt, it's going to be close now. Bad Hunt now goes through into the right-hander of turn 6. It's going to be close between these two. Remember, Bad Hunt was around P9, P8 before he made his stop. He came out in front of BRL Skeppy, who was P3 but had to pit and then sort of a drive-through. So what I had to keep in mind with that, MSR Racing going through, I believe someone else has just joined back in 1776. He could join back. He's now in the pit lane in P5. So that's unfortunate. He's going to try to regain all the ground he back up front for his not come out of the pits yet. But that means when his pit stop, he's not going to be far behind the Lexus, but he's going to be behind the Nissan's Bad Hunt. That was just like I thought he made a mistake. So Bad Hunt, like I said, will keep ahead in P1 in front of Skeppy by about 1.4 seconds. Oliver only about a second or so off via the scoring time being first, at the end of the first sector scoring time. B-Dunk gets blue flags and lets the McLaren of Oliver through. Phantom, he was P2, and now he's P4. But that's not as bad as SF1776, who's really lost out on this. He was leading, yet to make his mandatory pit stop. Now he's going to be P8 and still has to make his mandatory pit stop. This has really hurt the Lexus camp. It started off from being Lexus are probably going to be a 1-2 with Phantom in 1776, but now those two both had problems. Now the Lexus that looks will be to win will be Bad Hunt if it stands, but he still has pressure from the Nissan of Skeppy. Oliver hit it not too long ago. Now we hit the halfway mark in the race via race control. So about less than 22 minutes remaining in the session. So, like I said, about 27 laps I think was around the target of where the race will be finishing. We've hit now 15, completed 14, we're on lap 15. Bad Hunt still has that gap about 1.4 seconds over the Nissan of BRL Skeppy. It's going to be a struggle to keep behind to keep in front of Skeppy, because Skeppy has had a lot of pace as of and was obviously one of the favorites alongside SF1776 and going into Brands Hatch. Now, unfortunately, like I said, both Nissans of Phantom and 1776 as he goes into the box, into the pit lane to make his stop. It's really unfortunate because now he's going to be a lot further last than he was. He was leading not too long ago, and now he's in last in the pit lane, and he has a lot more ground to get. That's really, 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 really unfortunate for the Lexus driver. It looks like he would have had it almost guaranteed. I mean, the pace he had. I mean, there's still enough time to probably maybe secure P8, P7, but I do not think he has enough time to grab anything higher than that. It could be guys making disconnects, guys having crashing or incidents. But Skeppy has gotten a lot closer to the back of the Lexus of Bad Hunt. See what the GTR can do in relegation to the Lexus. He's now about 0.3 of a second behind the race lead. This is the closest he's been all day. He started P3. That's Bad Hunt going out of the gravel. And Skeppy now is the leader at Brands Hatch. So, it started off with being Skeppy could challenge, to Skeppy has to see if he can try to go challenge Lexuses, to Skeppy trying to figure out a way to keep Neymar behind. Now he's leading the race. Storylines have been evolving for the GTR driver as Aldifer. See what he can do. He's not that far back. He can try to challenge Bad Hunt and maybe even see if he can go catch down the Lexus and the Nissan. Still plenty of time, 20 minutes left in the session now. But, don't look now, but Phantom isn't too far behind. Phantom could try to figure out a way to regain his position and unfortunately, or actually fortunately, still have a shot to get some solid points here, unlike SF1776, who's just been really unlucky in the circumstances of tonight. But, like I said, still a lot of time left to go. 2 seconds now, the gap between Bad Hunt and Skeppy. Skeppy has put the hammer down. Aldifer is now up down to 2.9 seconds of a gap between the Lexus and the McLaren. So he's definitely on a push and see if he can try to get P3. Phantom still keeps his gap at around 5 seconds behind Aldifer. So we'll see how Phantom can react. Now 4.9, he has gained a tad bit since last time, last scoring lead on McLaren. Looks like he may be a little bit stronger through Sector 3. than the McLaren of Alderfer. But Alderfer may be a little bit stronger through Sector 2 than the Lexus. But as Alderfer actually lost some time to Bad Hunt and the last sector as well, so it looks like Bad Hunt may have the really, really strong final sector, as Alderfer now grabs the second to the first sector. Bad Hunt's actually lost 0.7 of a second to Skeppy in the lead. We have Air. He's now going through almost in the scoring loop now. How long is he going to be? He's about 15 seconds off of his Lexus manufacturer teammate of Phantom. Deer Hunter, he's going through the line scoring loop now. He's about 10 seconds off of Air. And MSR Racing is through the, I guess, the final corner now. So he's a long way away, about, what, 4, 5 corners behind the Porsche. B-Dunk is going to be through the middle sector now. So he's a little bit farther away. And SF1776 is going to be through on the penultimate corner now to the final corner. So it's going to be a lot of ground to get. That's no doubt about it. But it's definitely possible. He has the pace. We'll see what he can do. Phantom. 4.1 seconds. He's gained a little bit on Alderfer, but not as much as Alderfer has gained on Bad Hunt. He's now down to 2.1 seconds there. Actually, Phantom's gained a lot more than Alderfer. But through the scoring loop now, Skeppy goes through. Bad Hunt is now 4.6 seconds. A mistake probably from the Lexus driver. I'm sorry. Phantom's actually fallen back to about 3.6 seconds behind Alderfer, by the way, who's actually in 4th. What happened there? I was on Alderfer, and all of a sudden, I looked up and actually read the scoring loop and used my brain. Looks like he has some damage on the front of the bumper of the McLaren. This is 1776, the lap car. And the old leader, that's a very tight squeeze. He'll go around the outside of turn 7, I believe. No, turn 6. And see if he can get that back on the McLaren. So that now relegates Phantom up into P3. Now it's double Lexus podium again. Definite possible for Lexus as a manufacturer to get a good day there. I mean, Air is still in the race. Phantom and Bad Hunt are right now looking at the original podiums there. At SF1776, he may be in P9, but that's still 2 points to his name, as well as ET4N, who was P10 before he disconnected. That's 1 point to his name right now. Every Lexus is going to be scoring points. So, it looks like the Lexus as a whole is a really strong culprit to a manufacturer competition, if that's even going to be a thing. But like I said, you still can change your car in the first 2 races, so you may see more maybe people go into Lexus, or people may be dropping from Lexus. But as speaking of Lexus, that's Bad Hunt now having to look more behind than he can forward, as Phantom's now within a second almost of his manufacturer teammate of Bad Hunt. To make clarifications here, there are no teammates in the ACC tier here now, but as they are both driving the same manufacturer. Phantom actually with a big slide through turn 7. You saw the rubber marking down. Nice save. And some style points as he was to go trying to catch Bad Hunt, who's now 6 seconds behind Skeppy, as we now go about to 15 minutes remaining here at Brands Hatch. So, like I said, I think the closest battle on track will be between Phantom and Bad Hunt. Phantom now goes a little bit too wide on the final corner. Gets into the grass a tad. That's going to slow him down to the front straight. Maybe hurt his run a bit. In turn 1, though, looks like Phantom may have the better line. He actually gained. He's about 0.8 of a second behind Bad Hunt. Let's see if he can try to improve that at all. Phantom now goes through. Here's the timing loop now. We'll see if Bad Hunt looks... visually, you can see Phantom's closer than Bad Hunt. Is it? How much? That's about 6.8 second to Skeppy, and about 3/10, almost 4 to Phantom. But Phantom is definitely not giving up. He's pushing harder than he probably has the whole race. Here he goes to the back of Bad Hunt now. He's now within, I guess... he's in scoring measuring distance, if that makes any sense, to even think about trying to make a move any point on the circuit. He's getting really close now within under 3/6 of a second, almost on that back bumper of that Lexus. With about 2 corners to go now through the penultimate corner. Phantom runs a bit wide on the grass, but nothing really hurts his run, I don't think, there. So now with the final corner coming up, Phantom is really, really close. He could possibly try to make a move in a turn 1 if possible. Manhunt goes a little bit wide. Phantom has a better run through turn 9 with a slipstream in the toe. Can that possibly... He goes out to the right-hand side. He's alongside Lexus, and he's going to be up and through. That is Manhunt on the gravel a bit. It looks like he may have had a moment, but he saved it. So that now relegates Phantom up into P2 and Manhunt down into P3. Still Lexus's 2-3. Oh, Phantom got on that curve, like I said earlier. It's those undulation of the bumps on top, trying to make them not be able to ride them. And definitely outsettled the Lexus there and almost caused a crash. But Phantom is still ahead by about 5/10 of a second, half a second gap over the Lexus of Manhunt. But 8.7 seconds behind Skeppy. If you haven't tuned in, if you remember back up into the before the window was open, Phantom was about this gap away from Skeppy. So let's see what he can do and try to claw some of that ground back in the lead. That sector.
The pit window is closing now.
The pit window is closed, but that doesn't matter. Everyone has completed their stop that was mandatory. So this is going to be straight running to the end of the Grand Prix now. So don't look now, but there could be a problem shaping up. As all defers actually drop back quite a lot on Bad Hunt and Phantom. So let's see what he can do, but Air could possibly, with his Lexus, try to make it a 2-3-4 for the Lexus cam. He's about 1.7 seconds off of the McLaren. 22 laps, 21 has been completed, and we're about halfway through to the 22nd one with about 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Like I said, the target was about 27 laps, so if that math is still right, it's around, we have about 5 laps to go. It's going to be crunch time now. Almost 10 minutes, and with the final 5 laps counting down, it's going to be fun to see if anyone tries to make a rash decision and go for an overtake. Aircav is going to be the first one to probably make that move. Bad Hunt is kind of lost. Phantom just a tad. That was the second gap between those two Lexuses. Aircav is going to try to figure out what he can do on the McLaren of Alderfer. He's about within a second of its. About within a second of the McLaren now, going through turn 6. So that could possibly set up a couple, maybe things or thoughts about it. Through turn 1, maybe even riskily through turn 6. But that goes down to about a second, or goes up to about a second. So Alderfer trying to run away to keep the Lexus at bay. 1.1 seconds is Phantom. Those two Lexuses are evening out. Up there in the battle for second. But like I said, right now Skeppy has just kind of taken control of the race from the unfortunate circumstances of S6 with about 7.8 seconds lead. Now Phantom has gapped Manhunt by about 2.7. Alderfer has actually gained about a couple seconds on Manhunt. That may be a mistake from the Lexus there. Alderfer is now 10 seconds behind the Lexus of Manhunt. Another 5/10 off from Phantom to Skeppy in the gap. Actually, now it's another 10th off. The gap now 7.7 seconds. But Phantom has actually gapped a little bit more to Bad Hunt, about maybe 7/10 of a second, to the Lexus manufacturer teammate, Aircav. He's gotten closer into turn 6, but he's still not close enough to dive into this corner, which is very risky to do, period, not enough space. The entrance or the exit of the corner, especially because you have to arc it and take a late apex to avoid running wide. But that McLaren looks like it's just a little bit too wide when you think about maybe setting it. You see the brakes on the Lexus glowing red hot, about 5 to 6 seconds. Going to be going a little bit more hotter if they're not careful. Trying to set up for an overtake. Lexus. I'm sorry, McLaren of Alderfer. Alderfer doesn't get a good exit. Aircraft's going to be right on the back of him. He's going to try to go for an overtake down in the final corner. He makes contact. Oliver's been spun around. Looks like he got hit back again to go straight. Yes, he has. He does not have spin. That relegates AirCab up into P4. So that's going to be a Lexus 234. But it could possibly take a look at race control and the stewards, if possible, between the incident between Oliver and AirCab. Looks like just contact at the back of the rear corner of the McLaren got spun around. Thankfully, unfortunately, he was hit back in the left or the right front. He kept going straight instead of spun around into the gravel. That would have been detrimental to his race. Maybe not as much time gap position-wise to Deer Hunter because he's about 21 seconds of again. So it may not affect him as much, but it still is definitely a lot better than being spun in the gravel trap. So Phantom has definitely pulled quite a lot of speed from that Lexus, as we're now about 8 minutes left in the session. That time is being around 1 minute 30-ish. That could mean we're probably around roughly about 4 to 5 laps to go in the race. Phantom, like I said, has actually put the gap to back to about 7.4 seconds, and the gap to Scappy is now reduced to 6.3. Enough time is running out for Phantom to try to go and pull enough time to Scappy to see if it overtake. You could catch a guy, but it's really difficult to try to overtake him. Like one thing, you can catch him, passing's a little different. Closest battle on track is actually probably going to be after the collision. It's not really close enough, so let's take a look just through the field as we give some recognition to some drivers. Like I said, Scappy, I haven't really seen much of him now. Ever since he's taken the lead, he's just kind of been riding out, just hitting his marks, and making sure that he can actually stay on the road and stay in the lead ahead of BRL Phantom. The GTR looking strong with about 6 minutes and 53 seconds to go. Phantom about 5.6 seconds behind Lexus to see what he can do in retaliation to things that have happened so far for him this race. Bad Hunt about 9.0 seconds behind him in the Lexus. He's right now the last podium sitter, making it a 2-3 for Lexus. See what he can do. He was already down about P11. So this result will be a great finish for him. AirCav up into P4. He started at P4. Let's see what he can do. If he would have said that he was going to finish P4 after the day he had, he probably would have been looked at pretty funny. But so far, with the detriment, or the determination to continue on fighting, he's now P4, making it a Lexus 234. But that's no expense to what could occur between him and Altifer. Altifer P5 at the moment in McLaren. For a while he was leading. It looks like he could have had the chance to take the victory here at Brands Hatch. Now he's down in P5 after a collision with AirCab. But he was only P4 before that incident. But I believe he may have had some damage before that, which allowed Phantom to get through and him to be in that position to begin with. Deer Hunter, we have not seen a lot from him ever since the early train between him and I believe I can't remember what the other one was, but it was ever since then we haven't really seen him. But now he's sitting in P6, about where he qualified. So not he's kind of I guess starting kind of ride day for him. MSL Racing, he qualified last in the Lamborghini, and probably didn't expect much out of it after seeing his qualifying result. He's up into P7 right now, 6 positions from where he started. That is probably the most gained in that event. So good day so far for the Lamborghini, the only one in the grid, and change the car in the first 3 races, like I've said multiple times so far on the stream. So that could change. B-Dunk, he qualified at P12, actually P11, I'm not really sure. He did not qualify in the top 10, I don't think. But here he sits in P8 at the moment, and his Bentley as he goes off the track. But thankfully he does not he gets back on the track safely there. He sits P8, about 2 laps behind MSR Racing, I believe. was a lap behind Deer Hunter, or a lap behind Skeppy actually. Yeah, B-Dunk's a lap behind MSR. So, SF1776, he's the last active runner on the track. He was leading from lights to... Oh, that's Phantom off the road. That's going to hurt him on trying to catch Skeppy. He was actually down to 3.5 seconds. Let's go and finish off at 1776. He got the fastest lap in practice. He got the pole and was looking like he was going to grab the win, but she disconnected and having to do the mandatory pit stop. His first and really pin down to 9th position. Still points, but not necessarily good. I guess a good finishing order. To answer your question in the comments, yes, there was more drivers here. We started with 13. We were down to 9. I believe a couple were from a disconnect, and one may have been from just parking. We have lost Neymar. We have lost DXE Ishigo. We have lost, I believe, ET from 856. I believe we lost one that came out off the top of my head. But other than that, we'll back and look at the top 2 fights now, as Phantom is about 3.4 seconds behind Nissan Skeppy with 4 minutes, 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on his hatch. That's going to be very... I just don't think it's enough time. I mean, he may be gaining quite a lot now, down to 6 seconds, but it just may be a little too late to go and catch the Nissan. About 1 to 2 laps remaining in the session here. So it's more likely for him to just... You can see Skeppy, though. Look at as 1776. He's going to see if we can... If he wants to try to get past Phantom, or if he's just going to let him just sit behind. Who was that pitting? That was Skeppy! Skeppy's pitting. So that relegates Phantom up into the Grand Prix lead. So that's going to be a big, big thing for Phantom, which this is probably going to be the last lap of the Grand Prix. If not, it's going to be the penultimate lap as 1776 has now gone past Phantom. Phantom's going to let him through to try to keep him behind, because he's not being raced for position. Manhunt is actually up into P2, which means Aircav's up into P3. Skeppy's still in the pits, not sure why. I mean, he was out of gas, all the way to P4 now, which means that the incident between Aircav and him was for the podium. Skeppy now will be out in P5 ahead of Deer Hunter, who's not that far away, but he is definitely not close enough. MSR Racing will stay P7, but that will mean that is a Lexus 123 here at Brands Hatch. It was one thing in the comments and the conversations before between the drivers saying that the Lexus was kind of used a lot more than it really should be, and that it wasn't as good as you think. It was not. It was a little bit too oversteery. It was too wide. It was not good enough to really show dominance. We'll tell that to Phantom, Bad Hunt, and Aircav after today's race. 1, 2, 3, all the way to P4. Let's get to P5. But as we now start the final lap of the Grand Prix, Phantom will lead us to it.
Final lap now. Give it all you can.
Just no mistakes for 9 more corners, and this Grand Prix victory on the inaugural BRL ACC Racing League on Xbox will be given to BRL Phantom. And we cannot ignore the scenes and the situations that has happened from this race. From lights to the pit window opening from 1776, being taken away from Pro League by a disconnect. Then to Skeppy's unfortunate pit stop on the final lap of the Grand Prix. And a lot of others. Some collisions, some spins, some offs, and a lot more disconnects. And a lot of disconnects, I should say, including myself, as we're trying to iron things out for the rest of the season and for ACC in general. But that doesn't mean much today. But you know what it is ironed out? Finishing order for P1 as he goes through the penultimate corner down the straight. He only has one final corner. BRL Phantom. He's always hard on himself. Maybe he shouldn't be as hard on himself than he really needs to be now. Through the final corner and up to the line. Lexus will take a day in victory lane, and so will BRL Phantom. He will now win the ACC Grand Prix of Brands Hatch. Bad Hunt, he's going to come across in P2. Not too far away, though, is Aircav, but too little, too late. That is a 1. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Lexuses on the podium, with Bad Hunt will be P2, Aircav P3. Aldifer will come across the line, unfortunate for him, but he will grab P4. Good point stay for him. Skeppy, he was leading with 2 laps to go. He's now P5, and another heartbreak for Skeppy. 2 days in a row. First in Tier 2, and then here. Deer Hunter, he qualified P6. He finishes P6. Not a big day for him, but he will definitely take it. That's some good points for him. MSR Racing, he will finish P7, a lap down. B-Dunk is multiple laps down, but he's going through the third to last corner now into the penultimate corner in his Bentley. It doesn't matter how many laps down he is. He's going to grab points over a lot more drivers. He's going to grab a total of 4 points, and that'll be enough to put him in relegation to see where he can contend in the championship with races to come. This is only round 1. There's a lot more time to do it. B-Dunk will qualify outside the top 10 and will finish in P8. But SF1776 will come across the line in P9. He was the leader. He did get pole, and he did get the fastest lap in practice, but it just didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. And that's the unfortunate truth and just how racing goes sometimes. And so we'll now actually get our podium sitters in, Phantom, Bad Hunt, and Aircav, and we'll talk to them about their race here at Brands Hatch. Actually, I was wrong. I predicted the lap would be 27. It was actually 31. So I was off by about 4 laps or so, but that will pretty much do it on track, as we're now waiting for, I believe, Bad Hunt to get into the party to interview our podium sitters for today's Grand Prix at Brands Hatch. We'll go ahead and go to one while we're waiting on Bad Hunt. So, Eric, do you mind if you click the box whenever I come to you in about 3 seconds? So, you got P4, I believe, in qualifying, and from the first lap, it honestly looked like it was going to be a lot harder to get back to the podium than you honestly thought. You lost a couple positions and had a long race to go. You fought back, you were determined, and you got that P3.
Say that again. Sorry.
Yeah. So the first lap, you lost a couple positions, and it looks like it was going to be harder to truly come back and get that podium. But you did. You were determined, and you got P3 in the end, not only for you, but for Lexus as a 1, 2, 3 on all Lexus on the podium. What does that mean to you so far in this inaugural race at ACC?
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. You know, just a race and a league race and ACC. I mean, this game is probably one of the best, if not the best game on, or best racing game on Xbox. But my strategy from the jump was just fill the car up all the way so we could make it, and when we go to the pits, just take tires. I mean, I figured everyone else who was running faster than me had a little bit less weight in the car because they had to fuel up. So, and then I had a bad start, and guys were getting aggressive, and ended up in a wreck. So I just pitted as soon as I could, and ended up passing everybody on pit road. Brought it home for a podium. So. Good for Lexus, good for me, I guess. So it's awesome to finish top 3 in first league race at ACC.
Yep, like you said, the first league race in ACC. This is the inaugural race in round 1, as we actually just lost Bad Hunt again. I don't know if he wants to be here or not. Anyway, congrats to you. That P3 is definitely big.
Thank you very much.
Not sure, Phantom, do you mind actually adding him or something and see if he actually wants to do this? Because I don't know if he does.
Green light, go, go, go.
I don't know. We'll actually come back. I'm not really sure. So we'll go ahead and go to you, just in case. And if he doesn't come, well, then that's pretty much going to be it for Podium. If he does, we'll come and interview him next. Phantom, it was P2, and it honestly looked like it was going to be very difficult to go catch SF1776. With his pace advantage, it looked like, through the beginning of the race. Then, with the mistakes happening, it looked like you had to pit twice, because the first one didn't register. Not really sure what happened to that. Do you mind touching on that for a second?
I think I just had the wrong strategy selected because I had one picked for quali since I was practicing pit stops and qualifying in practice. I think I clicked instead. I had it on strat 1, which was only change tires and maybe add a little bit of fuel, but instead it didn't have the right strategy and it only fueled my car and no tires, so instead I had to just pit for tires and then push to the end and try to catch the guys in front.
Yep. So, with that being said, though, you trying to go in through the field, got your way back through the field, got your way in a position to go and catch Skeppy, and then I believe a miscalculation from the GTR driver got you in to the last 2 laps of the Grand Prix as the leader. So now you winning this race is definitely special. It's the first one in ACC XBOX and the first one in this league race and league season. Do you think that is probably going to be there's going to be more to come through the next couple races or something?
Definitely just looking at everybody's pace, it's definitely going to be a fight between SF1 for sure. He definitely has plenty of pace around here, so he's going to be one to kind of watch out for, especially being the leader. And then Skeppy and I are both kind of on par. It's just unfortunate that he had a kind of fuel calculation and had to do another pit stop right at the end, but should be good overall because most of the guys are pretty close on pace.
Yep, it was definitely pretty close through qualifying, through practice, but not as close in the race. But a lot of mistakes and a lot of things needed to be ironed out by these drivers, but that's just the way round 1 usually works. But that's going to be it pretty much for us. I don't think Bad Hunt is going to be joining. So congrats to him. Congrats to you, Phantom, on your first win in ACC and your first win in this league, by the way. ACC, I mean.
Woohoo!
Clarification. So that'll be it. Once again, I'm Haycatcher up in the group, in the booth, and that's going to be it for us at round 1 of Brand Hatch.